Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. I'm back this time with an Archimedes dead floppy drive. This is one that's the only one that I couldn't get working at the time when I worked my way through all the Archimedes here. There were more drives, I think. No, there weren't actually. There were just enough drives for the machines, but I got them all working bar this one. So I'm just going to revisit this. This is the A3000 from hell, the one that had an awful lot of work, and I was very pleasantly surprised to find that when I connected this up the first time in about 4 months, I haven't sold this on yet, 4 months, it powered straight on. No worries at all, it booted up, it read a disc. One thing I did notice, it doesn't like this disc. It likes every other Archimedes disc I've got, but not that one. This one I think was written on a 3010, and this is the problem I found. Sometimes with the 3010 drives, the alignment can be different to the 3000, and that's been consistent on all the 3000s I've looked at. It's because it's a high density drive, I think, but nevertheless that is the issue. So that was part and parcel. I thought, well, I want to try and get this drive working to see if this disc will work on it, because I think it will do actually. Because they're not all the same, that's the other thing. These 3000 drives, not all of them are out of alignment with the ones in the 3010, but there's just a subtle difference there that means it's a 50-50. I would say half the 3000 drives I tested work perfectly with that disc and half of them don't, but all the other discs written on the 3000, they all work fine, including ones that I wrote back in the day on either a 3000 or I think a 4000. One of them was written on a 4000 and they all read fine. So anyway, long story short, it says dead, and I think there was some corrosion on this one, so if we just let's just get the lid off. I'm pretty sure I would have cleaned the heads up on this. I'm just curious to see, is there anything we can do with this drive? Maybe not, maybe this is going to be a fail video. You can see I put some new grease in there, the heads will have been cleaned. The thing that's different about these drives compared to the system, can you see you've got a weight here? Sorry, that's not focusing very well, there's a weight there. It weights the back end of the head, which is a really weird mechanism. Normally the other floppy drives do that. But if I remember rightly, I think this is the one where I might have cleaned it up with some vinegar, but it was a bit corroded on here. It's like some corrosion's got on here, so it could just be a bad connection. You can see there's a bit of fluff there. Anyway, let's connect this up and see what this is doing. But as a side note, I sidetracked myself there. This worked fine, and then I turned it on its side, plugged the mouse in, switched it back on, I had a red screen, and the floppy LED flashed 4 times and then stopped. So I was like, oh no, is there a fault with this? Tried holding down delete to clear the non-volatile, just the same. Unplugged the mouse, just the same. I thought, well, there must be something wrong with this. What's wrong with it? So anyway, I pulled the lid off and then I just pressed these chips and it went click. I pushed that one, click. All these here, click. It was chip creep. The same with the ROMs. And the worst one actually was the NV RAM, you know, the real-time clock RAM IC down under the keyboard here. That had come almost out of its socket entirely. It's incredible how bad the chip creep was with this, and I switched it on, straight on, no worries at all. So that's all it was. It was a case of one of these chips had just slid. I'm not sure what it was, my guess is that, actually. I pressed it and it pushed in a long way. That was out a little bit there, I didn't do all of these. ROMs are alright. That's alright. So yeah, that's just something to be aware of when you've not used a system for a while. You switch it on and get a fault, don't just assume there is a fault. Go and, you know, reseat, push things down first of all, just make sure they're all firmly in the sockets. So I've got the drive connected up here. Now I need to hold this up. I've got some scaffolding here, it's ESD safe, but the underneath of the drive here will mean it stops rotating, so you've got to hold it up while you're testing. This is really annoying. You could of course screw some standoffs or something underneath that drive. Anyway, if I just hold this up, power this on, so that's normal. So it would seem after I cleaned this up with vinegar a while back, that made a difference actually. It's now sort of come back to life a little bit. It's not totally dead. If we go to the, hang on, I can't use the mouse on the carpet here. If we go to the drive, you can see it's actually accessing it, trying to. The heads are moving, it's spinning. We're getting an error there, so it would now seem to be perhaps an alignment or head issue. And I can sort of show you that here. So I'm accessing it now, can you see? It's moving the head. But one of the things I noticed, can you see, I'm just holding it this way. Now look at the head here, and just watch as I lift this weight, can you see it go down? I think this is something to do with the mechanism here, that the head is perhaps floating up a little bit too much, perhaps. Although just looking at the head down there, can you see? Yeah, it is making contact with the surface of the disc, so maybe it isn't that. The next thing I'm going to do is just clean the heads again, I think, so I'll switch it off. So I've got some IPA here onto the end of a cotton bud, and we'll just carefully lift the head a little bit and just give the head another clean. But I'm sure this will have been done to this drive. Yeah, it's kind of looking spotless actually, and there's nothing come off on the cotton bud there. The other thing that can sometimes be an issue with any drive, if the head has been wound further back than here, yeah, the track 0 sensor, it's already at 0, perhaps further back than 0 than it should be. So for that kind of scenario, it's I'll see if we can do it with the dry end of the cotton bud here. It's a good idea to maybe just wind the head if we can. I'm not sure which way, that way, like that, away from the track 0 sensor here, so that when you power it on, it'll go back here and it will hit the real track 0. That's firm. I'm just making sure that's not moved. Everything is connected here. It's strange, isn't it? It could just be worn heads, but can you see how it hangs sagging down that way? The other thing that may help here is just to put a little bit of pressure here, not a lot, because that may level it out if it's had a disc stuck in there and pulled out. Yeah, that's marginally better. Let's just give those two things a try. And before anyone says it, the problem with doing two things at once is you don't know which one fixed it, do you? If it works now, you'll be like, it's the heads that were dirty. I don't think so, because I cleaned the heads numerous times on this. So yeah, I think the heads was just par for the course kind of thing, but that won't be the issue. So let's try this known disc, a non-working disc. I'm not really expecting it to have made any difference, to be honest. Oh, it's worked. Haha! There we go. There we go. There you go. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So that's another drive saved. That didn't take very long, did it? It literally was that little bend that I introduced there to, stop it from sagging on one side. Seems to have fixed the alignment issue. See that weight on the back of it that I pointed out earlier, that is a key part of this drive, and if you get the alignment out a little bit in terms of the mechanism, that weight tends to pull more than it should do, and I think that was the issue actually. Haha, hard to believe. Oh, so pleased. Means I've got a spare drive now for an A3000. And of course, just thinking about things, we did three things there, didn't we? We moved the head away from the track 0 sensor. So you know what? It could have been that. I could have been, cleaned this all up, removed the corrosion. As I say, there was corrosion on the PCB, oiled everything, cleaned the heads, and then when I came to test it, maybe the head was too far past track 0. So I don't know. I don't know what fixed it now. I'm not sure if it was that little bend or the track 0 position. Anyway, let's stick that disc in again and just give it another try. Yeah, this is why it's best off doing one thing at a time, really, when you're trying to understand the fault. Drive empty? No, it isn't. That's the other thing with these, if you don't get the disc in, properly. Now it's saying drive empty. I think now we've got a problem with the disc detection switch, actually. It could be that the disc is not fitting in there properly. Let's just try that again. Yeah, it's not. It's thinking there's no disc in, and there is. I'll ram it in, see if that does it. Nope, no disc, look. So there's definitely another fault here. Now the only thing, I was holding it up there that whole time. That's definitely on correct, I think. Let's just check it. Yeah, that was on correct. And obviously the power was there correctly. So, I don't know, now I'm wondering what's wrong with it next. It's got to be this. It's got to be this switch here. I think we'll get a little bit of deoxit in there and clean that up. Yeah, very annoying. 1 minute we're there and then we're not. It's like it's teasing me. So yeah, we'll get quite a bit of deoxit on there and then just push up and down like this. Because if that switch is not working, if you've got some contamination in there or some of the contacts not making a good connection, it will. I think there's no disc in, and that's exactly what we were seeing a minute ago. It's saying no disc in the drive. There's a hair here as well, can you see that? It's gone now. So I mean that should do. Of course you can measure the contacts here. We'll do that next. I think if that doesn't make any difference. Let's just give that another try. I think there's a hair there as well. Look. Very weird. Can you see here this funny pattern on here? I think this is some of the corrosion still. But you know what? That PCB looks so much better from when I originally cleaned it. I wish I'd showed you. There was a lot of white firmness on there. Now I would expect this to not work this time because the drive is upside down. Yeah, look at that. And that's because of that weight. If I turn it the right way up, just bear with me a sec. It's detecting the disc now, as you can see though. You can hear the drive doing something there. The right way up works, see. So yeah, that weight is very critical on these. You can't run the drive on its side or upside down. It's got to be totally flat, and everything around there has got to be clean and well aligned. They're quite fussy drives. Yeah, no reseeks or anything. It's just stepping up the tracks as it should do. So I'm confident that drive is okay now. We'll just clean the top off, clean that label, and I'll label it up to say it's working. And I'll just test it for a period of time. That's report back. So yeah, I even surprised myself on this one actually. It's ended up being super simple. I thought I was going to be spending ages on this. I thought I was going to have to do lots of reflowing on the top of the PCB there. It's a strange one for sure. But it means I've had 100% success rate on these drives again. Xavier sent me a load of drives on their own as part of the first lot of stuff he sent me. And every single one we got working. It is annoying I didn't film the corrosion here. What was happening? The corrosion was up all these pins here. Yeah, they were looking greeny. And I got some vinegar and a toothbrush, IPA, vinegar, IPA. But it was all under here. It was like furry, the whole lot. And the same thing. And I took the board off, took the drive to pieces, cleaned it up both sides, inspected everything. I think I tested the caps on this drive because it was driving me nuts that it wouldn't work. I think one of the issues was that switch there. After doing the cleanup stuff and lubricating everything, if I had the issue where it was not detecting the disc, I may have just gone, oh, the drive's dead, you know, just giving up on it, and not thought to clean this. So that being intermittent could have caused me the final issue here. But you did see that it was that wasn't the problem when we first started looking at it in this video. It wasn't reading the disc at all. So just the three things I did there, you know, cleaning the heads, moving it away from the track zero, and just bending that little, you know, the left side of the mechanism here just down a little bit so that it wasn't, you know, the head, instead of being flat, the head was kind of like that, and then as soon as we bent that down a bit, it kind of strained out a little bit. And those few things, coupled with cleaning that, were all that was needed. This time a corroded Archimedes A3010/3020 floppy drive. It's missing the button and it needs a circlip, I think, if memory serves. I looked at this drive when I was looking at the A3010s. Can you see that there? That switch is balked as well. The spring has come through the plastic. So that has failed. Now I've got another drive that's similar, probably a Citizen like this, that I might be able to borrow the switch from. But the initial issue here, and I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this here, I will put you on macro in a minute, it's corroded. You know, if you look at some of these, hang on, if you look at some of these components here, the solder points look terrible on them, and some of these traces here, I think, might be the issue. So what this does, the LED just illuminates all the time when you connect this up. Now it could be irreparable, but in the first instance I'm going to have a look. The first thing I noticed, can you see, right, you've got the connector here and no solder points here. So I'm puzzled as to how that's mounted. It must be surface mounted or on a sub PCB on the other side. That might be something to do with it. So anyway, the first thing we're going to do is just remove these screws here. We'll disconnect the ribbon there and see if we can get this out. Obviously we'll need to disconnect the things on the other side as well, like the ribbon for the heads and for the stepper motor there. But if we have a look, let's just see. Is that one holding it in? Yeah, that one's holding it in as well. So the lid on these, as I've shown before, you just sort of clip it gently over like that. So that's off. So you can see here these two ribbons. You can see here the two ribbons for the heads. So let's just carefully grip and pull those out. Two. We've also got a JST type connector here. I'm going to grab the wires. I shouldn't. There you go. Technically do that. And then I think this should pretty much detach. And the final thing we need to do is slide this down this way like that, and then it comes up a little bit, and then this should come out and off if I've got everything. I've still got something connected there. Ah, the stepper motor. How did I miss the stepper motor? Yeah, that's for the Track Zero sensor. The stepper motor one is here. I'm going to use my fingers for that, I think. Okay. Might have to use the pliers actually. Good grief, that's in firmly. Yeah, connections look okay. Let's have a look at that now. Ah, there we go. I bet that's something to do with it. Can you see that? Look how green those are. They're super corroded. And we've got a dead insect here, look. That looks like a push fit connector, does it, to marry up with something? I don't know. Yeah, I wondered what that was then. That's for the two ribbons for the head, actually. And of course, we've got a bit of corrosion here. Might need to swap these caps out. So I'll start by, well, first of all, getting that bug off there. It seems to be stuck to the board, look. There we go. And we use some white vinegar here, just to have a little bit of a scrub around. Certainly the connector up here. I'm not sure if it's going to fizz up. I'm puzzled by that corrosion, if I'm honest. I mean, it must have been in a system where, well, it's not gone up the cable, has it, the corrosion? I'm not really sure how that's got there. It's very odd. Of course, when we've got that level of corrosion there, anything that goes this way, because there are some, mind you, the grounds, so maybe all the connections go that way. It might make it a little bit easier to diagnose if it is a damaged trace. Just for good measure, we'll clean further afield as well, and obviously I'll get the IPA onto this in a minute. It could be one of these wires here, though, that's the issue. You know, the ones here in particular don't look so clever. The ones up there aren't so bad. Up here looks fine. It's not those caps that have leaked. That was the first thought I had. So let's now have a scrub with some IPA. Of course, we could just get some flux on that connector and reflow it, if I think any of the pins are sort of floating and lifted. And we'll have a scrub on the bottom side here as well. I'm half tempted to temporarily reassemble it and see if it works again, because you never know, it could just be not that something's damaged, you know, that'll corrode through, but maybe whatever contamination was on there was causing some sort of conductivity between some of the pins where it shouldn't be doing. There's something that'll give you relief. Well, I'll show you in a minute. I can't believe it. It works. It works after that. It literally was that corrosion on the underside, and having cleaned it off, it's fine. I tested all the connectivity going to and from the IDC connector and the wires and things there, and there was no issue. So I thought, well, if it doesn't work, either it's one of the wires further into the board or something that I can't see. But yeah, I just connected it up to the 3020 here and gave it a try, and it worked first time. However, the mechanism fell to pieces. This whole thing fell out here, and it's because, can you see down here? I think I mentioned this on a previous one. The circlip was borrowed off this because it had gone off one of the other drives. So it needs a new circlip, and I've got a circlip kit here. But the other thing I want to do, you can see I'm just disconnecting this PCB again. I'm just going to clean the top of the connectors there, you know, the solder points, with fiberglass pen, because they're looking a bit green still, even though it's clean now. I have checked to make sure they're all firmly soldered on, and they are. I just want to get the greenness off the top. I may even get some flux on, reflow them if I'm honest. Anyway, let's just disconnect that again. There we go. I'm very pleased though, because that means I've got a spare drive. But yeah, so you can see what I mean. It's better, but they're really dull. So fiberglass dust can be no laughing matter. You don't want to breathe it in, and you don't want to get it in your fingers and things. It can really itch. So just be careful if you are, you know, sensitive to things like this, or you're worried about your lungs. Wear a mask or something while you're doing this. Anyway, look, we're all right now. That's all it needed. Just a gentle wipe on the top there. I mean, there is still a little bit of greenness just down there on those points. What I could do is just cover over anything I strip back there with a little bit of nail polish. I'd like to try and get right up to the very edge of the pins where they are still a little bit green, where it joins the PCB. If you go at this too much, you will break connections. Yeah, the insides of the pins are looking a little bit green here as well, just ever so slightly. I'm going to use wire brush here. Just both ways. Obviously we can't get to the inner set there, but anyway, that is a bit better. Spray some WD-40 onto a cotton bud. I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking that's crazy, but it's a solvent. It's very unlikely it'll affect this plastic. We can test it out on that. Yeah, there's nothing coming off. It's not, you know, you'd have a bit of black colour coming off if the solvent there was affecting anything. And I'm just going to wipe over that with that. But you see, solvents repel water, so any moisture that gets onto that and decides wants to start corroding it again, that won't happen. It'll just get like dark grey. It'll just kind of like lightly oxidise and it won't corrode. Yeah, there we go. So I've just clipped the circlip on, and I think that's right. If I try and pull it, yeah, you can see it's holding it. It's holding it. You can push it down like that again, but the circlip is right. That's fine. So it says 2.6x, 5x, 25mm. That's the one I've just fitted there, I think. So I'll just clean over the things there with a cotton bud. I don't want to go over this any more than necessary with the, you know, the fiberglass pen. Just give it a brush like that. Yeah, that's looking okay. And we need to reconnect these things. So these ones are dead easy. You can literally just push them. The first one's super easy, and the second one's a bit harder because the first one's in the way then. Yeah, straight down. That's those on. The JST here, you're best off trying to push it with something into the hole. Hang on. Yeah, like that, and then just push it downwards. If I can get a grip on it. There we go. Let that snap into place. And the final thing here is the motor. And the final one is the motor ribbon, which, yeah, you do need to use some pliers or something to grab that and pull it in. That should be it. So we'll just clean off the part there, put that test in and stuff. In fact, I'll clean the whole lot. I can write that back on in a minute when I write what it is and it's been tested. We need to get this back onto here, so you bend this spring here over like that. It's best to sort of start on that side actually. You know, kind of like tuck the edge into the flap thing there, and then put it under there. Can you see that? Hold it, and while you hold it on the other side, try and bend this to get back into there. There we go. And just test that works. So we need a button. Let's stick a button on it, and we'll stick the lid on it, and we'll go and try it. It has been greased up. It's had the heads cleaned a number of times, this drive. Of course, the one thing we still need to do is to deal with that. So I've got two brand new 3D printed buttons here, and yeah, we got these off eBay. There's a guy who sells these quite frequently on eBay. So if memory serves, you have the bit at the top there, and then it slides down like that onto the thing, so that it hangs lower down than you expect. And yeah, it's a bit trial and error to get these on. You've got to press pretty blooming hard. I think the thing I did last time is I got my craft knife in there and just sliced into it from both sides. I think there's a bit too much plastic there. Can you see that? That needs shaving off. Having said that, that's not going to stick. How is it going to stick? yeah, it might interfere on the edge of there actually, so I'm just going to go smooth that down. Yeah, so a few minutes to flatten that, and I'll show you what you have to do with a knife on these, because I had to do this on the other one as well. Get a craft knife in there at the side and just slide up and down like that a little bit, because you'll find they're made of a really sturdy plastic. They're, you know, designed to be resilient, these, and it's a really fine gap. So anything like the ones I've got here, you may find it very difficult to get on. Yeah, that's starting to go on now, look. I think. Gotta press it really blooming hard. Yeah, you can see it's starting to go on, but it should slide further down this way. You can see how much further it's got to slide. Can you see that plastic there? That wants to be right up here, so the button will be like hanging down this way. Now, the way I did the last one, and we may break this doing this, I don't know. I've got two of these just in case. I squeezed like this here. It's certainly easier said than done. Yeah, I'm not going to do it, is it? I'm going to have to pull it myself. If at first you don't succeed, try again. What I mean by that is take it off and do a little bit more slicing, because as you look at it from that angle there, the gaps look relatively large there actually. But from that side there, that looks solid. It looks like there's no gap. So yeah, I don't know. Blooming annoying these. Yeah, like the knife doesn't want to go there. It's like that's a solid blooming piece of plastic. These are not properly cut or 3D printed is the point. Actually, they're not printed properly. So that took some serious persuasion. Can you see how low down that has to go? It's just like the pink one I showed earlier. Yeah, I had to force that an awful lot, and I had to keep shaving bits off of it with a knife in all aspects really, just to finish it off and get it to fit perfectly. But that should work now, I think. The final thing is just to deal with this. I might try and fix this switch actually, because you can see the spring is here. The plastic, the clear plastic has crumbled. I figure, in fact, let's go over to the mat now. Let's just remove that, because at the moment it's not working. We'll desolder it, and then we'll see if we can do anything with it. If we can pull the mechanism to pieces there, I may be able to get a clear piece of plastic and, I don't know, super glue it over the top or something to hold it back together. So we should be almost at temperature there. I'm just going to carefully add a little bit of solder, not a lot, to each of these points. I have no idea how this is mounted. Well, a service mount, but I mean like to the PCB. Does it slide onto the edge of the board? Will we have to pull the board out to get this out? I don't know. Anyway, let's just heat that and try and remove the solder. Of course, braid is probably the easier way of doing this. Let's just heat both. I'm going to pull it towards the edge of the drive here. Yeah, I have no idea how that is mounted. Let's just add a bit more solder. If we heat both at once, then in theory, yeah, you got slides, look. So, that's annoying. I think what we could do here is just temporarily undo these 3 screws here. Can we? Yeah, we can. We can just lift that like that now. Yeah, just temporarily. If we just lift it up, heat it, slide it off. There we go. So we can either try and replace that, or, as I say, fix it, because it is just the top. It's the top part. The spring is still there inside, and I think the mechanism will still be there. So we'll see what we can do with that. So here's a quick look on macro. My nails need cutting again. It's always a thing. Right, I'm going to cut them in a minute. I'll show you them. I'll show you my cut nails. I might even cut them on video. Anyway, you can see the plunger here. It's just a little plastic plunger that goes in the centre. And if you look right down inside, can you see we've got a metal contact there and a metal contact there. And those correspond with each of these. You know, one goes like probably there, and this one goes around and up to that one. So, yeah, there you go. And you can see the little plunger. And the thing that makes the connection is that. So you can see it's got these little metal bits here, it's gold plated there, they're bent upwards, you know, 2 on that side, 2 on this side, and it goes face down into that thing there, so you've got to kind of balance it. This is where it's super fiddly to do this without damaging the blooming thing. Yeah, see, I can't see what I'm doing from here. I've got it back in, so you can see what happens now. If I push this up, it moves off the contacts below, and then it let go, goes back down again. Now the thing that keeps the tension there is the spring. So this spring has seen better days. Can you see it's been stretched? And there's a bit on the end there where it's got a bit of plastic melted. But yeah, I think what we need to do, we need to get that onto the plastic end piece. I can't see the blooming thing here. That's not on, is it? So small, seriously. Flung off now, look. So I've mixed some 2-part epoxy there. This isn't really the right surface. You want a solid surface, like, I don't know, a piece of card or some plastic or something. But if I just move this into position here, and I'll give you a fairly close look. Can you see it's got a hole in the middle where the spring was? And the plastic is still got little notches here to clip back into the top on one side. It's melted on one side because someone has touched it with an iron. But if I... let's think about this. If I sit this down that way up, this is how it's going to go back into the surface of the thing there, and fill that hole in the middle with some epoxy. That should allow the spring some support there. You know, we're blocking the hole. I'm going to stick it, you know, let it stick. I'm not bothered if it sticks onto that there, move it over that bit there, because I can just cut it out. It's not a problem. Hopefully that will block the hole. Just get the epoxy off there. Yeah, hopefully that will block the hole sufficiently to support the spring. What I might need to do is just scratch on the other side of it a tiny little recess for the spring to sit into, if that makes sense. And then in theory I could reassemble this, clip it back on the top, and then secure it at the sides. I might melt it the way it's been melted previously by the looks of things, and I suspect I can fix that switch. I suspect we can get that working. So whilst we're waiting for that to dry, we do need to do something with the spring. Look, it's gone kind of like limp on the end. It needs to be straightened up somewhat. So this is not going to be blooming easy. I will have to do this under magnification. It's going to be a case of trying to get the bit where it's bent and bend it and try and straighten it out. You know, because it's been apparently stretched, we might be able to chop a little piece off the end. I'm reluctant to do that. I'd like to try and get it straight as possible, and then see if I could just assemble it, you know. But if it's bent like that now, when you put it back in, it's going to squash up, it's going to go like that inside. Does that make sense? Instead of, you know, squishing down as it should do. So I've got a couple of ideas here. You can see putting it on something like this and doing a bit of that, watch it doesn't shear off the end, whatever you do, could help. But also, I'm thinking about, I don't know, heating it. Get up to like 480 degrees or something. And then do a little bit of that while it's going up to 480. That might allow it to sort of spring back into shape. You can see it's marginally better. And the other idea I had was to try and grab the end part there, which I cannot do for the life of me on camera, and then tighten it like that, you know, twist. And the obvious thing is just to squash it, and I think I've managed it. Can you see that? I did try a bit of heat as well. It's not perfect, but yeah, how has it gone? It's not got the amazing bend in it. It should, what's the word, is it concertina? It should squeeze together like that and hopefully be almost straight when it folds up. The epoxy set nice and flat there, but it left a little recess for the spring, and you can see I reassembled it here. Now it just needs to be pressed down a little bit on that side there. One side clipped in okay. The side that's obviously been melted is the side that's hanging out. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to heat this with the iron on the very edge here, put these little bits that are overhanging back over into that corner there. Do the same over this side here, but all signs are, from testing I've done, it seems to work. The spring I managed to straighten out. The contacts are nice and clean. I'll get some deoxit in there anyway, just to double, you know, make double sure it's nice and clean. But yeah, it's gone back together. I can't believe it. So I've just tested it, and it does indeed work. Let's get it back into here. So I need to undo these 3 screws again. Quite how the spring came through a hole on the underneath of that, I don't know. But it was melted. You know, someone had obviously been tinkering with the iron, or accidentally touched it with an iron. Although how you do that, I don't know. How on earth do you accidentally melt it the way it was melted. So you can see, you know, it's not super tidy, because obviously I've melted that same side, but the other side that was clipped in, I've just clipped back and I haven't touched that with the iron. Anyway, let's get that back in. I need to get rid of this solder off there first, don't I? Let's just use the braid to do that. So this is just a surplus drive. This is not the drive that we looked at with the 3020. So if we lift that up, it's got little slots, as I say, which means it should slide onto the PCB. Like that. There we go, that's in position. And we just need to solder the two contacts. Up, it's moving, look. Yeah, that's one. I don't know why it's gone round. It's a bit weird, that. I'm not sure if we almost got a bridge in the middle there then. Feels like we have, actually. There we go, that's looking better. And we'll just clean the contacts with some IPA, and then we'll test connectivity. So it should be closed unless it's pressed. You know, it goes open circuit when the disc is in. It breaks the connection. That's how it works. So meter on continuity test. Let's just test these. They should be joined. Yeah, they're joined. Now the difficulty here is going to be trying to get under there. Yeah, I can just about press it. So holding those there, you can see we've got a short. Press it. So yeah, that's done the job. Very pleased. So I got it balanced on the 3020 here. We've got two different discs here. I've got a double density disc. Someone's previously covered that there to make that double density. In fact, it's not very well covered, is it? That's coming off that. I'm going to put another piece of tape on that. It doesn't really go all the way around. They even filled it with a piece of plastic, look. I think this was the disc that came with it, actually. I've just labelled it. So I've got a double density disc here. Let's stick that in. It was a HD disc, but someone's obviously stuck a bit of tape on it. The main thing is here just to see if it'll read a DD disc that's formatted to 880k. And I think the answer is yes. That's worked, hasn't it? Let's just do size just to check it. I think we can do 3, that should tell us. Yeah, look, it's an 800k disc there. So no problems reading that. I'll start that game, just make sure it works. And then I'll try a HD disc. This one, which I know is formatted to 1.6 meg. Yep, so that's working. Let me cycle the power. And we'll try the other disc. So this one has a hole, so it should, in theory, detect it as a HD disc. Yeah, so the HD disc, Pac-Mania's come up there, that's correct. Let's launch it, see if that works. I'm tempted actually just to temporarily stick that little bit of tape there on the HD part of that disc and retry it and see if it messes it up. Because it should do, I think, if that sensor's working correctly, it should think it's a double density disc and read it incorrectly, I think. But anyway, that is working with a high density disc. Really confused, to be honest, because I'm formatting a 720k disc here, you know, a double density disc, or 800k in terms of the Archimedes format. And I can format it to 1.6 meg. Now, I've just set as the switch in situ, and it's working. It's definitely working. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's the same with the other drive. So it would appear that whilst there's a switch on these Archimedes drives, you can see there it's got a bad sector on the verify. Yeah, whilst there's a switch there, they don't even appear to be using it. So I kind of maybe wasted my time on that. Another defect. Another defect. Another defect. Yeah, this is what you get though if you try formatting a double density disc to HD. And another one. Probably another one. 6 mapped out. But yeah, I was able to format that then. Let's just do 3. Yeah, 1.6 meg, 1.58. So that's really weird. Let's just try that same thing on the other drive. Switch it off. And you can see here, look, it's not got the hole there. that is definitely a double density disc. So that's something I've learned, that even though they've got a density ID switch, it doesn't even appear to be used on the Archimedes. Certainly not on the 3020. I'm guessing the 3010 is the same, it's got the same chip size, see? So I'll try that again. I'm sorry this whole video has been a slant, by the way. It's just because of how I've got this LCD monitor set up. So let's do format, and it's like say you've got all the formats listed here, and you have this with every disc you put in. Doesn't matter whether it's got the thing there or not. So here's a quick look on the underside. You can see there are marks all over this, and they're pretty bad. You can see I've just started polishing a little bit, but I thought I'd show you some of this stuff as an extra. Yeah, you rub this, look, it doesn't come off. A lot of these marks here, some of them, like there, that came off. Yeah, some come off, some don't. There's some big slices and scratches and things. So like that one there is not coming off. But if we use a cotton bud, as I showed when I did the main video there, the top shell, I don't quite know how this works, other than the fact that you're pressing onto a very localised spot, but you'll see the little marks do come off. See that? That one's gone. It's amazing how well this works. I would have never dreamed that that would make such a difference. You can see there, I think that circular mark that was there now, look, has gone completely. Yeah, so much later, just testing this, it's working fine. I'm going to come back to the Archimedes for another couple of videos actually. I've got a number of things coming up on the Archimedes. That way I think. So I'm using blockers here just to get them going the right way. Up. I think if you drop them off that side there, they'll splat. It's annoying, you've got to waste some using blockers. God, that's loud. Where's Armageddon? There. I think. Brings back a lot of memories. I played this on the ST, on the 286, and eventually on the Amiga. Yeah, I think you get him digging through there. Sweet. This is the issue I have with some discs that were written double density. The 3010, and it's the same with all of these 3010s. Every 3010 I've looked at, again, doesn't read this disc, but you stick this in a 3000 and it works. So yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it, how you get this specific issue. And if I have a look at the disc, you know, it looks like it's totally clean here. There's no signs of any corrosion or anything on it. It's just an alignment issue. But like this other disc, this was written, I think, on a 3010. So let's try this one. Yeah, it sounded like it was struggling a bit there, but that seems alright. This stuff here gets me. It's like, it does look like it's on the TV, certainly with the noise we've got on there at the moment. In theory, I could connect this TV up via VGA. I'm not sure whether it will handle the resolutions or not. Yeah, it's working. So that's using VGA. Let's just go. Oh, it's gone on the on-screen display. Of course, the aspect ratio is totally messed up there. I'm not sure we can change that actually, can we? Normal. Yeah, that's the native resolution. Look how small it is. That's alright if you want a really small, like, super sharp thing there. But the only options on this mode are normal or full. So yeah, aspect ratio is a bit balked. Can't work out if that disc sounds like it struggles to read a little bit. Ah, hang on. Yeah, the TV can't support this. See if I can remember what the key combination is for this when it asks for disk 2. Yeah, so it's something like Shift Control F2. Did that do it? But you've got to have your folder names exactly. Yeah, that's worked exactly correctly. It did take a bit of faffing around sets this up originally. The nice thing with the 3010 is you've got joystick ports on the back, unlike the other models. Now I've got a joystick adapter for 3000. There'll be a video coming up on that next, I think. If you're not familiar, this is obviously a game that was on the Amiga. Oh, hang on, you use your weapon, don't you? Hang on, where'd you get your weapon outside? You can't get it under there, so that makes no sense. Oh, go away. I think that's the furthest I've ever got on that game. I'm tempted to play it for a bit now. Yeah, just having to verify that disk's folder. It's like a compressed folder, I think. It was Xavier that helped set all this up to start with, this RAR-FS, like file system. It's an archived file system. And just every now and again, when you shut the machine down, you get that error saying it needs to be verified, and you verify it, and it says no reference objects. I can show you how you do that. When you double click on a folder like this, it pops up, and then it usually says that it needs verifying. In this occasion it hasn't. But then because it's mounted, you get RAR-FS down here, and you can just literally middle click on that, and you've got verify, and you can verify the the folder that we've previously opened. Anyway, that's all okay. Let's just see what else is in there. No action for this file type. There is. Yeah, I forgot to run ADFFS, didn't I? Oh, that's the thing. Honestly, it confuses me. Yeah, that's working. Oh. Go away. Stupid helicopter attacking me at the same time, like it's not hard enough. Again, like it's not hard enough. Trying to fight a boss, and then it's throwing normal enemies, and we've got this thing as well. Yeah, and it's a virtual floppy. Arena or something it's called, I don't know, never seen this. This is one where you've got to boot as a floppy and hold control down when you launch it. What the heck? Oh my god. It's like Archimedes, but you can move the ball all the way around. The sensitivity of the mouse gets me, look at that, it's nuts. It's too sensitive. Oh my god, that is so hard. And I thought I'd just show you exactly how I launched that there. So I went to the folder. Once the folder's opened, in ADFFS down here, like if you try running that now, it won't start. What you've got to do is middle click the ADFFS button down here and go boot as floppy. And then there are two options here, and if you just choose yes to boot as floppy, it freezes. You've got to hold down control, as it says there, which gets rid of the desktop. It quits the desktop, and then you click yes. You get the cursor there, let go of control, and then it boots. So yeah, a few different ways of loading games in ADFFS. Anyway, it was only a short video. It's looking a bit dirty here. We're going to revisit this in the next video because there's a short repair needs to be done to this. And we got the issue with the composite. The composite looks fuzzy, so that's going to be another video at some point in the future. And I'll revisit the VGA. If you know what the issue was with this TV and the VGA there, I'm guessing it's just the TV can't support the display mode or something. What was confusing me though is flipping between like the desktop, two images, desktop graphics. When I say graphics, I mean of the game. Yeah, almost like there's something stuck in the buffer or something, which is weird. But I do know if I connect this up to a dedicated VGA display, it seems to work okay. Maybe I just have the screen mode set wrong or something, because I do remember you've got to change the screen mode on the desktop there. Anyway, massive thanks to Xavier for sending these Archimedes that you've seen throughout my channel, pretty much every one of them apart from the A4040. We're going to look back at the 4040 as well, and I've got the joystick adapter for the 3000, that'll be a future video. And I think I'm going to try and overclock one of these as well, so stay tuned for that. I do hope you found the video interesting. If you'd like to support the channel, please see the Ko-fi and Patreon links down below. I'll catch you in the next one.